All right, everyone. Yesterday, Nancy Pelosi said something very, very telling, and her comments were actually misconstrued by most of the right. They looked at this as being threatening. It's not actually threatening, it's evidence of what I've said, which is that the neoliberals use the far left as pawns. I think she had a little bit of an Alzheimer's moment, and she accidentally told the truth, which if you're Nancy Pelosi is about the worst thing you can do, especially on the eve of the midterms, when you're really, really, really hoping to be the leader of the House of Representatives, a majority group. I think there's only a 50-50 chance she gets it now. It could be that the polls are all right, the Republicans get wiped out in the House, and just manage to gain in the Senate, but I mean, I no longer have any evidence for that to actually happen. Nancy Pelosi came out and made some comments with regards to them toning it down after they take back political control. Now, of course, if you control the House but you don't control the Senate or the White House, you don't have political control. You've got to negotiate, which is something that the Pelosis are terrible at. Like Chuck Schumer has extended kind of his hand occasionally to try to work with Trump. The House is really where most of the obstruction has been. Other than on Kavanaugh. There it came from a few Republicans within the Senate. It was from Trump's own party. It's like totally boiled down to political partisanship. It's really been the House all along. The House refuses to negotiate. The Democrats there, they plant their feet and cry, basically, stubbornly, and pretend like the 2016 election never actually happened. They were supposed to take back the House then, and they want to take it back now. I hope that they come in like 2 seats short. I hope it's a real squeaker and the Democrats barely miss the mark so that they have an epic mental breakdown and the far left attacks the Neolibs. By the way, best thing for you for 2020 if that happens, because otherwise Pelosi becomes the face of your fucking political party for the next 2 years to be Trump's punching bag. He couldn't ask for a better gift. Trump, I guarantee you something. Donald Trump is hoping the Democrats retake the House while losing power in the Senate. He doesn't give a fuck about the House. He's going to get obstructed by his own party from time to time up until 2020 at least anyway. He doesn't care. He can then blame the other party. He doesn't have to play spoiler among the Republicans and get attacked by a few never-Trump ankle-biters anymore. He won't have to worry. He can just target the Democrats. And Nancy Pelosi's words are exactly what I would expect her to say in private company. Basically, what this boils down to is this isn't a threat. This isn't, well, we're going to be nasty unless you give us the House back. That's how, like Bill Kristol or something would interpret it. I interpret it differently. I think that's Nancy Pelosi's dog whistle to the neoliberals saying, yeah, these social justice wars, we're going to keep whipping them up into a frenzy, Gillum style, which is exactly how these people talk behind closed doors, guaranteed. We're going to keep them up into a frenzy. We're going to use them for cheap votes, political pawns. If we retake the House, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to be able to actually do anything anyway because we don't control the fucking Senate and we don't control the presidency. We're not going to be able to extend the Mueller probe with a congressional investigation. We'll get Benghazi'd. It'll go nowhere. We will look bad. Trump will run rings around us. What will Nancy Pelosi actually end up having to do? She's going to have to end up either negotiating with Trump or with the minority never-Trump part of the Republican Party in the Senate, a few people, which may not be possible. If the Republicans make, a 4-seat gain in the Senate, there aren't going to be enough Republican defectors to do that with. It means probably shutdowns in the future. It means obstructionism. And Nancy Pelosi ultimately will reign for several years over a fractured House of Representatives in which she wields no real actual power. Also, here's another interesting thing that I think a lot of the Democrats don't understand. There is a small but growing minority within the Democratic Party that wants to change the rules of the House in order to prevent Nancy Pelosi from being your speaker at all if they retain the House of Representatives. That would set up a battle between the progressive minority, the 20% or so of the party that's actually on the left, and the 75% of it that's neoliberal, the other 5% off in the corner chuckling, defected to Trump long ago. Those are the business Democrats, the Reagan Democrats, and the Rust Belt. A few hundred, maybe 1 million voters represented by a handful of representatives. They're chuckling. They should really put an R after their name for all it's worth. And what'll happen is that Nancy Pelosi will be embattled when she inevitably wins the position anyway. She won't have the will of the entirety of her own party that may seek to punish her by working with the Republicans. It's not beyond the realm of possibility on certain issues. We have to understand that because some of these people do represent Rust Belt districts. Yeah, if Trump wants to pass another business tax cut aimed at small businesses or eliminate some of the self-employment tax, which shouldn't exist at all, in my opinion, among other things, some of them might end up having no choice but to vote for it. Otherwise, the Democrats get fucked because they just essentially voted to block tax cuts. That's never popular. That's really the one advantage the Republicans all along have had, is threatening to cut taxes and hold it over the heads of the Democratic Party. Trump's done it once, he's willing to do it again, he's already talking about it now. He's basically already planning. If the Republicans retain the House, you can expect more tax cuts, I would imagine. Yeah, probably will. By the way, I fully support that. Cut them by 50% and then get rid of half of the bureaus. Get rid of the NSA, we don't need it. We've already got the FBI and shit. We don't need the EPA, it doesn't do anything, it's become a partisan outlet. Department of Education? Fuck the Department of Education. Once federal educational standards were adopted, our educational standards were significantly lower. Now, would you imagine that? You mean that states don't want to politicians within states don't want to have to make up the difference by raising taxes in their own states to make up for the fact that you have lowered test standards now at the federal level? Wow, I never would have imagined that would happen. Then you have Common Core, aka Common Crap, No Child Left, aka Left Behind, and all this bullshit. Nancy Pelosi is actually telling the truth for once. The problem is, of course, the truth is going to be very unpopular for sane people. The truth is the Democrats are using the far left. The Democratic Party isn't run by social justice warriors. Those are the useful idiots. It's like Saruman whipping up the people of the hills into a frenzy to go burn the Westfold or something. He doesn't give a fuck about them. It's like if Sauron wins, he's going to have them all killed probably anyway. He's too busy dabbling with his orc magic and shit. He doesn't give a fuck about these wild-eyed former Rohan inhabitants that he looks down on even more than he does the horse people. He doesn't give a shit about them, but if he can whip them up into a frenzy and go send them on some suicide missions, hey, soften up the enemy before I send my real force in, that's a great time. That's what the Democrats do. The social justice warriors are the ones, they're younger, they're more energetic, obviously. They're not Hillary Clinton age, mostly. They're willing to put on a pink hat and stand outside in the cold for hours protesting. They're willing to browbeat people. They're willing to glitter bomb them. They're willing to throw rocks through windows and do everything else that the lamestream Democrats are too cowardly to do. They're too cowardly to do these things. They have to get their barbarian horde, essentially, to do it for them because they're cowardly. And so they're willing to promise this barbarian horde, yeah, we'll have universal health care, we'll impeach Trump, hippie trippy granola, we'll censor everything. They're not going to do any of these things. No, if they take control, it'll be business as usual, and then the Democrats will suffer when it becomes clear that that's the case. Trump will run on this, and he'll run the Democrats into the ground. The Democrats have lost 2020 if they win the House back, probably. Because Nancy Pelosi is going to be a very, very convenient talking point and selling point for the Republicans. They're already gearing up for it. They've already been putting her in ads and shit. Oh, is this the face that you want leading the Republic in the House of Representatives? Vote again. Vote red. It works. It's actually surprisingly a credible campaign strategy. They've done this to Hillary Clinton as well. That's about all. Peace out.